Thank you so much. Cindy's presentation leads quite nicely into this one, obviously. What I'm going to talk about is the hands-on, how do we do this, and how do we teach others how to do this, and the tools that we might use. Again, this is the survey QR code, and so I'll show it again at the end. A little bit about DCMP. Our mission is to promote and provide equal access and communication and learning through described and captioned educational media. That also includes sign language as well now. Our ultimate goal is for accessible media to be an integral part of teaching, and that is both in K-12 and higher ed, but primarily we focus traditionally on K-12 content. What do we do? So we are federally funded through two different grants from the U.S. Department of Education Office of Special Education Programs. And with that funding, we produce audio description, captioning, American Sign Language for educational content that is used in classrooms across the country. And so we talk to teachers and find out what they're using, talk to the producers, partner with them, produce accessibility for them on a barter. We trade them accessibility for license. And so that's how we built this enormous collection of really high quality educational content. And the qualifications for that are, one, that we have money. If we have a budget, we can produce. That's the most important one. Beyond that, we look at what are teachers using widely. So we look what's aligned to state and national standards, and honestly, what we can license. You'd be surprised. We have content from BBC to Nat Geo and independent filmmakers, PBS, literally thousands of different producers. Most people say yes, because it's a really good trade. The value that we bring to content is about $100 a minute. And so they quickly do the math. We also are tasked with developing technology to improve the production of accessible media. We use every tool that you've probably ever heard of to produce, and we have learned which ones are efficient and which ones are not. And we write software to augment that internally, and then also share that when we're able. As Cindy mentioned, we earlier have the captioning key and description key, which are resources that we openly publish, which are essentially our standards, our guidelines that we hold our own writers to. And then, of course, we do teacher training on accessible media in the classroom. And so we don't want to give access to this 20,000 videos and not give them the tools that they need on how to integrate that into a lesson. So our catalog it's categorized into topics and subtopics, like any other video library, assigned grade level ranges. We hire a company to align it to the Common Core and state standards. That way discoverability is high. They're able to find content that is applicable directly to exactly what they're teaching, and it identifies portions of the video that are more aligned to what they're teaching. And then, of course, we have high-quality accessibility features, captioning, audio description, multiple languages, all that. And we add hundreds of hours of content every year. We also do a lot of production for television, so a lot of the shows that you see on PBS and a lot of the EI programming, the Saturday morning programming, that's our team. So here is what a video player looks like on our platform. So it's small, but we have hands for sign language, CC for captioning, the headphones for audio channels. That can be language, that can also be audio description. There's plenty of videos in our collection that have captions in English and Spanish, audio description in English and Spanish, and ASL on the same video, same player experience. Nothing particularly special about this player. This one is actually Video.js. It is a modified version of Brightcode's player, and then we inject a few more buttons, but all that's customizable, and your brilliant tech teams can figure that out. If we can, with a team of 10, you can. Okay, so WCAG, WCAG, however you say it, a lot of times I look at AAA and I think, man, how is that even possible? And I'm here to tell you that it is, and it's not as difficult as you might think, especially if you start small. So it of course includes accurate captioning, audio description, and I put sign language on here. I think AAA does require sign language, right? Yeah. So we created a tool called DCMP Create. Originally, it was built for our teachers. We wanted them to be able to take their classroom content, augment what we were offering, but do it accessibly. And so we started doing that, and found quickly that universities really needed this too. It went way beyond what we had originally envisioned. Cindy, where did I sit my drink? Did you see it? Thank you. I drop in a hurry. Pepsi wasn't the best choice. So our team worked with our own in-house developers to create this. So it was designed by accessibility professionals who have been actively doing production of thousands of hours over decades. We made it feature-rich without the complexity of the professional tools. We've used them all, and so we know the pain points. And we built in a lot of time-saving AI features. If you need them, if you want them, AI is controversial, I get it. But we wanted to give you a hand up if needed. So, accessibility shouldn't be an afterthought. The idea is that we build this as we go. And I really think that you can teach pretty much anyone who is capable of making a video to also make it accessible. If they're skilled enough to create the thing in the first place, they can do this part. So, again, handles captioning, audio description, sign language, one tool, very similar interfaces. If you've spent much time in a nonlinear editor, like Adobe Premiere, this will feel at home. Everything is based on what looks like markers, if you've ever seen that layout in Premiere, both on the captioning and the audio description side, and of course we have timelines and waveforms. We have tested 100 different iterations of this thing, and we can't come up with a better visual way to represent tracks and things than what has been done before us, you know. So, for captioning. So DCMP Create uses machine learning at the very beginning to transcribe. We realize that it's not perfect, but it's close enough that we want to save you an enormous amount of time. And so what we did was using AI models, which we change often, depending on who's doing best at the time. We wrote our own API so that we could interact with multiple AI vendors to do the transcription, depending on, like I said, on who's winning at the moment. But we also wrote our own natural language processor that essentially breaks down all of the text into its component parts. We had to literally learn again how to diagram a sentence. We went back to our 3rd and 4th grade roots so that we could build these rules. So instead of using an AI approach for things like when to break a line, so our captioning key says we don't break a line on a prepositional phrase. That's rules-based. And so there's no real reason to have an AI inefficiently trying to make those decisions. And so we wrote a natural language processor that would do that part. It also does a lot of the punctuation and capitalization, things like that. Oh, and again, since we've captioned tens of thousands of videos, we have this enormous data set to train that on. We've got, high nines of accuracy known in these captions and audio description files. And so we're using those to do training to supplement some of these AI models. So here's the captioning grid. I'll show a live demo in a few minutes, which I always hate doing because inevitably something breaks, but I'm going to do it anyway. The sort of global settings, things like text alignment, bold, italics, underline, all that stuff are up at the top. The tools on each caption block are things like insert a music note, push and pull words, combine captions, split captions on the cursor, things like that.
Talk about the presentation rate. I love that aspect.
Oh, yeah. So, and I'll show you this in settings in a bit, but one of the things that's in the caption settings is sort of your target presentation rate, measured in words per minute. And so if you say, all right, well, we don't want anything over 200 words per minute, when the caption block exceeds that, it will highlight in yellow or red and tell you what it is. And that way you can change the timing, either on those in and out timing points, or by clicking down here and dragging them around. Those are all options. One other thing that's kind of interesting about this platform is that since it's web-based, and since our web developers are used to creating accessible environments, the whole thing is accessible. So a blind user could absolutely do the captioning, which was kind of hard to pull off. Yes?
Will your captions create a separate VTT file?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And a lot of options on the export side. Yeah. You can also import VTT. So we're working on some other formats as well, but we allow you to import and modify as well. Okay, so for audio description, our tool allows you to write, voice, and mix audio description in any web browser. Audio description segments can be inserted anywhere in the video, and you select between standard or inline and extended or expanded, however you want to say it. Users can use their microphone to voice themselves, or select from an AI voice. The AI voices are not bad. That's a ringing endorsement.
It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah. So right now we're integrated with Amazon Poly, so we have their voices pulled in. We're working on an integration with 11 Labs. They're way more expensive, but the voices are better. So working on that. And upon completion of writing and voicing, the description track is automatically mixed with the program audio, and then we export an audio track. You can export a VTT that's tagged as audio description to use on like Kaltura and use their voices. We're trying to build as many options as we can. Here's the layout for audio description. Very similar to captioning, less buttons. So you can select the AI voice, set a speech rate, just in case you're trying to fit something into a very tight space. We can only guide the AI voice so much on speed, and so if it really will not fit, you can click expanded, and let's see if I got one. Oh yeah, so right here is an example of an expanded segment. It's not very big, but how do you represent an unknown amount of time in a linear timeline? And so that little squiggly is an expanded description. What it does is it pauses the frame right there, and will talk as long as you want. Like Cindy mentioned earlier, if you were in here, expanded or extended description is a bit of a trap because some people will want to write as much as they can. And so the important thing to drive home when you're teaching someone to describe is the economy of words. You only need to use as many as you need to convey the understanding. That's it. Too many is definitely too much. And every blind user that we work with tells us the same thing. It's like, I don't want to sit there for an hour for a video that was 20 minutes. This also, in this view, this was handwritten, but also there is AI. So you can click describe frame, and it is using a ton of metadata that we know about the video, including the audio transcript, and the scenes that happened before and after it, to make a good estimation of what you're wanting for audio description. It's not perfect. It's getting better every day. And one of the things that we found was that sometimes it needed more, sometimes it needed less. And so when you click that button, it pops up this little dialogue. Actually, no, you got to click the gear. Because describe frame, what it does is concise, short. If you click the gear, it gives you some options for verbosity and complexity. So you've got minimal, concise, standard, detailed for verbosity, complexity, simple, general, academic, expert. Especially in higher ed, you may want to give an expert description, or at least imagine, use what it gives you to as a starting point. This happens shockingly fast. You'll see in the demo. When we first tested this back in probably 2022, 23, it would take about 5 minutes. You send the images, send the metadata, package it up, ship it off, and it comes back in 5 minutes. Now it's literally 5 seconds or less. It's incredible how efficient these things have become. Next is sign language. This may be an isolated use. One great use for this is if there is a video that is used every semester, multiple times, and you hire an interpreter every single time, record them. Have them use this tool to record themselves signing, and our tool will match it up to the video and spit out all the iterations. So it can export an isolated version of just the interpreter that's the exact same length as the original video. It can do picture-in-picture, whatever. We did involve AI in this step. ASL for AI for ASL is not there yet. Deaf users have continually told us that it's just no substitute for a human interpreter. So I'll show you a screenshot of that. This is Cindy, who is a certified interpreter. Cindy signed along with this. The presentation for this is really simple. The webcam on the right, the original video with huge captions on the left. The captions are obviously the first step. You've got to get those right and timed correctly if your interpreter is going to have a chance at getting that. I mean, they do it all the time without captions, but that makes it that much more accurate. Once it's recorded, clips start populating in the timeline below. And so if they need to do retakes and things like that, it is a full video editor. And the clips start populating on the left, like in a clip bin, but also in the timeline. I would recommend you all take a look at Captioning Key and DescriptionKey.org. We've tried to write that in such a way that anyone could understand it and use it. A lot of captioning companies use this as their training material, and it's free and it's out there, so I would recommend checking it out. Okay, so you've produced audio description, captioning, ASL. Now what? Our export gives you the kitchen sink, everything. So video, like if you do extended description, we go ahead and make the video edits for you. We hold that frame, so the video is the correct duration. We give you that alternate audio track. If it's standard description, it's already mixed and ready. ASL, again, we give a picture-in-picture version and the isolated interpreter, and then text formats, VTT, SRT, and we're just kind of taking requests at the moment on what other formats are needed. Additionally, this is great for small colleges. We know that not everyone has a video platform. And so we have built a system so that you can get a unique URL and we host it. It's our player. We take care of all the tech. And it's also embeddable. Okay, beta testers are needed for sure. So if you want to fill out the form, we are definitely looking for people to help us test this. Eventually we will have to charge for it because it's all expensive. But it's not going to be much. We're a nonprofit. We are not trying to make money. We're trying to make accessible media. And so once we reach those pricing points, we'll let the beta testers know. And it's like I said, we're just trying to, we have to pay developers and support staff and things like that, but it's going to be reasonable.
I also have cards up here if you want to grab one as you're leaving.
Okay, so I won't take questions at the moment. Well, I mean, I guess I will anytime, it doesn't matter. But I was just going to show you. So I will log in to the live version of DCMP Create. I'm going to create a new project. You can drag a video or click there and select one. I will find one on my desktop. Okay. So this is a video from Emily Calandrelli. She talks very fast. I always like to use her as a captioning example because, yeah, it'll stretch your captioning model. So what is happening right now is that we have to make a preview version, a proxy version of this video. And so, depending on what the developers are doing today, I think that it's going to Amazon Media Convert. It will transcode that video into a small version that we can use for preview. And then once it's done, it should populate a thumbnail. I'm being impatient. This is real, you know? So if it bombs, I'll go look at another one. But I think it will be okay. So I'll just scroll down and show you what the grid looks like when it's processing. We're definitely open to feedback on this layout. We know that once you get 1,000 videos in here, that won't work anymore. And so we're looking at foldering and pagination and all that stuff. So kind of as you're beta testing, let us know what works. Come on. I wonder how long the video was. I didn't notice. That matters. So there's a little spinny thing up in the top right that is showing you your tasks. And right now I have a couple that are stuck for various reasons. When we're testing this stuff, I try to find edge cases, and my developers love it. And one of the reasons that those are stuck is because I used an illegal character in one of the descriptions and broke it on purpose. So that's why those are there. Okay, I don't think that one is going to work. So we'll just jump and find a version that's already encoded, and I'll show you that. All right, so this is one that I did yesterday. It's the exact same video. This is the preview layout. So it shows you everything that you've created. In this case, it's the English captioning, English audio description. It says ASL, but that's it's not really ASL. I'm going to delete that one. Okay, so I'll go into the caption editor. We'll take a look at how this did. So I did not touch these. This is straight from the combination of AI and the natural language processor. So we'll take a look.
This experiment is all about friction, but we'll get into that in a second. For this one, you need DVDs or CDs. If you don't know what these are, that's okay. You can just buy them online. I'll link it in the caption. You need sports bottle caps, balloons, and a hot glue gun and glue. Now, adults and parents, because we're using a hot glue gun, just exercise caution here. And if you want to get creative, you can color on your DVDs, your CDs with permanent marker. So what you want to do first is get your...
I didn't see any mistakes yet. I don't know. So it's doing pretty well. But let's look at what you might want to do if it did, or if you're trying to avoid something on screen. One of the things that a lot of caption tools don't do that's really important is caption placement. And so on this one, you can click any caption anywhere and change its positioning. And the VTT standard actually respects that. So it can be any one of 9 positions on screen. Typically it's bottom center, but that's really useful when you have a lower third, when somebody is demonstrating something with their hands and you don't want to block it with the captions. So it does positioning, of course, bold, italics, underline, and all that. You also notice that we don't center both lines. It's because we don't read that way. We read left to right. And so we use left justification. All this is changeable, but just kind of tiny little things that make the experience more accessible. In the settings, we were talking about this earlier, you can set a grade level. You can tell we're a K-12 program because it only goes up to 12. But honestly, beyond 300 is not particularly readable for any age. So the default's 250, which is grade 8 and 9. And I was talking about the alignment and things. That is customizable. If you always want the captions on the top, you can set that at the project level. And for the timeline view, I mentioned that you can change the timing by just grabbing the handles on either end. So you can drag out the timing. And as I do that, the time codes update. You can see those moving. The words per minute also update. And then if you need to retime it entirely, you can just click and drag the block. Any questions about captioning?
I have a question. So this that we're looking at right now, this was just about, you just uploaded the video and this happened automatically?
Yes.
And then you can go in and fix anything that needs to be fixed?
Right.
Understand it correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Piggyback on that question, what's your accuracy percentage?
It's a moving target. I range, it's about 98.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like.
5% right now, and then we have to meet the other 4%. So, I mean, 98.
Yeah. It's kind of amazing. The one thing I didn't mention is that I'm giving trade secrets. One of we actually do a third pass for captioning, and what it does, it's a contextual check. And so we will run the entirety of the caption transcript through and say, hey, do any of these words not make any sense? And what triggered this was that we had a captioner. No. I'm not going to blame a person for this. We had captions that came in that were talking about a beetle, the bug, and they said, Beagle, the dog. Well, beagles are not tiny and they don't crawl on the floor and hide in, whatever. You know what I'm saying? There's not a dung beagle. So that contextual check would say, no, you meant a bug, not a dog. And so those sorts of things we're trying to correct, but for now what we're doing is hinting. And so if there is an instance where the contextual check finds an error what it thinks is an error, we will highlight the text block and tell you that. There'll be a little notification above it. But honestly, it happens so infrequently now that I don't have an example. But yeah, I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's been kind of amazing. Now this is studio sound. That's the other thing. Most of what we're dealing with is licensed content. We have done a lot of tests with lectures, and it does just about as well, as long as the accent is not too heavy. That's one of the other things that we want feedback on in the beta phase, is we may have to add a step that says, select here if there's a heavy accent or something. We may have to get some hints from you when uploading the video until we can figure that out programmatically, because there are some models that do better with accents than others, for sure. Okay.
So at this point, what you would have to do is proof it, read through and make sure they're accurate. Do that check, that needs a human. You do still have to add speaker identification.
Right.
If you have more than one speaker, and sound effects.
Yep.
But that's it.
But I could potentially upload a VTT that has speaker identification and it would use it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. And we're working on ways to identify at least the difference between speaker. We may say speaker 1, speaker 2, things like that. But yeah, I have seen some attempts with AI to name the speaker, because their names are used a lot, in videos. And also, you could upload a dictionary, ahead of time and say, okay, the speaker is Mark, and with him is student Jane, and it could do that, I think. But we just haven't quite got there yet. Had another question?
Is there an option so if somebody has a speech, right, they have a script they're reading from, basically, can you upload that and it'll automatically kind of cut it more activity?
We could absolutely do that. Right now, there's not a way to, but that's easy. It's an easy lift. Yeah. A lot of the caption editors, not picking on 3Play, but they're one of them. I honestly love 3Play. Josh is a friend. But one of the things that I don't like about their platform is that they use a paragraph style editor, and they don't really. I think it's important to show you what it's actually going to look like in blocks. We call them chunks. But yeah, I think it's important for you to see that as you're going. Yeah, paragraph's easier to read, and we may look at having, another iteration of this where you're able to toggle between those views, because that's easy. But I don't know. I think it's easier personally to go ahead and proof and align at the same time. Okay, so audio description. This one I don't think has any currently, so we'll generate some and see what it does. Okay, that's a blank one. That's good. So I'll start with the logo. I will go over here. Actually, I'll just drag this blank one over here to where that is. Causing errors. All right, so I'll create a new one. Basically, you pick a visually important part of the film, hit the plus, and write the description if you want. But if you want to see what AI says, just hit describe frame. and in a few seconds it will populate title Emily's Science Lab. And we can preview that with a voice.
Title, Emily's Science Lab. Title, Emily's Science Lab.
And then to watch it with in the context of the video, you can just hit play.
This experiment is
Emily's
all
Science
about
Lab.
friction, but we'll get into that in a second. For this one,
So I think I had it too close to the beginning of the video.
this experiment is all about
Emily's
friction,
Science Lab.
but we'll get into that.
I don't know. Bug. Sorry. So let me just find something visual here. Okay, this is where AI gets really interesting, is when there's a table full of objects. And, oh man, it used to be potato, 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 paperclip. But let's see what it says now. I'll go ahead and do the gear and do a, I'll do standard and general. And then it will generate that. You can read it right here and then edit it. I don't know if you can see that text, but it says, text Emily Science Lab alien hovercraft used with permission. I mean, it's there, I get it. A woman with long brown hair wearing a light purple top, smiles and gestures, blah, blah, blah. A lot of that's not important. My bad for picking the wrong frame. That's the frame I wanted to describe. So I'll just do concise and general and see what it says. A hand holds a glue gun above a blue plate with markers, balloons, and white objects. All right, so let's do standard and see what that does. Hopefully it picks up the markers. A hand holds a glue gun over a navy blue plate. To the left, there are 5 markers in various colors. To the right, there are balloons in yellow, orange, and a twisted balloon shape, along with 3 white cups. Those are cups? No, those are lids. They kind of do look like cups. I'll give it that. And then to use that, you just hit use description, and what it's going to do is go ahead and go out to Poly, grab the voice, and it's already there.
A hand holds a blue glue gun over a navy blue plate. To the left, there are 5 markers in various colors.
You get the idea. So obviously this is a terrible example of description because I wouldn't step on her like that. So if I go over here and just change it to expanded, now to pause.
Caps, balloons,
A hand holds a blue glue gun over a navy blue plate. To the left, there are 5 markers in various colors. To the right, there are 3 balloons in yellow, orange, and a twisted balloon shape, along with 3 white cups.
I think it sees the shadow.
Glue gun,
See the shadow.
blue.
So
It's really close though.
it's really close. This is like 60, maybe 50% accurate. You're talking about accuracy. This is not, but
Change 3 to 2, it's not bad.
yeah, it's
But it doesn't take much to go in and edit either, because you said
No.
that you can just go ahead and edit it.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you miss 1 word or 2 words, in 2
Yeah.
seconds, and you're done.
Which was blue shape, but it's
yeah.
fine. I see a shadow.
Right, sees the shadow.
Just about the context of that, or do we, like when we're trying to do these types of descriptive.
Sure.
In that scene, she takes a moment to actually explain kind of what she's got in front of you.
Mhm.
From your point of view, would you want to do a descriptive audio of the tabletop if she's explaining what she's got in front of her?
Nope.
How, like, okay.
So yeah, I'm showing you sort of the mechanics
No,
of the
but,
tool.
I totally get
but-
that. I was trying to think about that myself.
No. So in context, if she said, "Here's what I've got," there's no reason to describe it at all. You know.
Do we have an option to create an AI voice using our own voice?
So that's part of the integration with 11 Labs that we're working on. That would be, yeah, that would be a situation where you'd have to go to 11 Labs, do the creation of the voice, and then import it. But it's definitely possible. And like I said, you can also do self-recording. So instead of AI, you can click self, pick your microphone, and record. No idea what that's going to do. Feedback and such. But yeah, once it populates the exact same way. So you record your own voice, puts it in the timeline, which is really useful when you're trying to do something exactly to time. or to fit, a tiny space that you have.
So, with the extended option, how it pauses the frame there, in using your video player, hosted wherever, will it, if you're not using the audio description, it just passes through that
Mhm.
frame and keeps going?
Yep.
There's no stutter there or anything?
Nope. So when you toggle, so like let's say you toggle between regular description and turning it off and going to closed captions or whatever, if you think about it, it has to keep a register of where it is in time compared to where the other version of the video is. Sorry, I messed up. We do it two different ways. We either can voice on the fly with expanded, or we can export a WAV file that already has all of those edits already done.
So is it loading two versions of the video then? Depending on if you're using audio description or not?
I'll have to think about what iteration. We've done it both ways. So I'm actually not sure what it's doing at the moment, whether it's doing player-based, which is, pausing the video using player hacks, or if it's generating another version of the video. Do you happen to know? Sorry. There's so many branches of this tool that we've tried it both ways and gotten it to work both ways. But yeah, it's a great question because, but either way, we're landing you in the video in the same place in time. But in some iterations we're doing the math, and some we don't have to. Another thing that's not on publish right now, which our published player kind of looks like just like this, except it doesn't have all the branding and the settings around it. Right now, the player can do it can do pop-up ASL, so you can position the ASL wherever you want. You drag it around. By default, it's in the corner. And I apologize for not having a demo of that. We've had to tear down a lot of the demos and rebuild, as you do in the development cycle, and I don't have one of those at the moment. The exports, if you click publish, it will start making the exports, and that includes all the text-based, caption exports, as well as the audio tracks and video tracks if you need them.
Separately, like sidecar file?
Yep. Yep. And we're testing it, so if you need to go ahead and just combine them to do an open presentation, we can absolutely do that.
You also get the transcript that you can download.
Yep.
Like we talked about uploading just the transcript that someone would need. You get that as well.
Yeah, so here's that option. So you would pick your language for the captions, audio description, and the format. Right now it's just a text file or a Word doc. I'll go ahead and add a sign language track so we can see how that works. It's going to want to see my camera. So I'll hit record and show you how that works. So it basically counts them in, then starts playing the video.
This experiment is all about friction, but we'll get into that in a second. For this one, you need DVDs or C.
Once you hit stop, it's going to throw that clip over on the left. Takes it just a minute to process, and then you can drag it down into the timeline. Being web-based has its limitations. If this were a locally installed program, we could eliminate some of this waiting, and we're looking into doing that, packaging it as a Windows or a Mac installer. But right now, this was the fastest way to get it out there.
So you had said earlier you can assign someone else to do the ASL portion.
Yep.
Does that did they need a separate login for that, or is like just a temporary guest account?
It actually it emails them a unique URL that allows them just to edit that one bit. Yeah, so they don't have to log in.
Can you add multiple users to a project? So say I have one person just doing captions, one person just doing audio description, one person doing ASL.
Yeah, it's right now not at the project level, but what we have is we have organizations, and so right now you've got a personal workspace, and then I've got a couple of organizations here. I'll click on that one and go back to the main screen, and so this is now I'm in the Described and Captioned Media Program organization. If I go to settings, you can add people to organizations, and so you add members, set their role, and invite them to the org. We realize that a lot of you have unbelievable amounts of video. We talked to someone last week who does 10,000 per semester, and so we get it. And so we're having some internal conversations about design and how to make this scale, because right now it works great with 4 people, but it's not going to work great with 400. So we know that. We're working toward it. And billing is a giant question right now. We actually don't know what this is costing. We fully. That's one of the reasons we're doing beta, because we want to translate. Okay, what does it cost on average to do audio description for a minute of video? You know, and we know those numbers when we're producing it ourselves, but when we're talking about S3, EC2. Poly, all these AI, it's kind of an unknown, and the only way to tell really your costs is to do a bunch. And so we've got a few more months of that before we can land on pricing. I can tell you this much: it's going to be less than $1 a minute, and which is a lot cheaper than most. Yeah.
Right now, how much storage does a user or an organization have?
So each user has 50 gigs at the moment, and we're using S3. So it's again, we have to factor the cost. We're not going to mark that stuff up or anything. We'll just if someone exceeds that, what we'll probably do is have an add-on so that you can just keep going with it, or give an option to dump older projects after a certain period of time. Okay. Oh, yes.
I know you're still working through the details on this, but one roadblock we've had is with our legal. When we go to utilize any AI services for audio description, then we get the big question of, is it training the models? Where's the data going?
Right.
So what are the
No,
responses there?
absolutely not. We're not going to use user data to train models. And it's just a great advantage of having done tens of thousands of hours of audio description. There you have it. We don't need the training data. And so, not that we wouldn't do it without asking anyway, but that's the practical reason. We just already have the data set. Yes?
Think back off the point, one of the legal battles we have is exactly where the data gets piped. You guys have ways to build them as master service agreements.
Yes.
Keep the data in the U.S., especially when it's going to outside sources.
Yep.
That's what you've done.
We do. The tricky part is, of course, when you're talking about AI services, the good thing is we're not actually sending them any video. We're only sending them stills, which I realize is still copyrighted, but it's a little better. But right now we're only using US-based companies. We are also in the middle of a SOC 2 compliance review. And so by the time we launch this, we will have our SOC 2 certification. And so very careful about data. Right now it is only stored on Amazon US data centers. Any other questions? Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, this might be too technical, but so if I have a 1080 video and I upload it and you're taking a proxy, do you know what that proxy size is?
Yeah, so the proxy is actually too small at the moment. Right now we're doing 1,000 kilobits. So it's a 1 megabit version. I think it's 128K audio. So we were just trying to get the preview as small as we could. And we made it too small and our thumbnails are terrible. But anyway, so we're iterating into that. But that's what it is right now. So the storage, like for a 9-minute video, it was like 50 megs rather. So it's really small. We do actually store the original until you delete it. And the reason is when we do the back end, so if you make an ASL version, we're not using 1 megabit for that. We're using whatever you uploaded. And so if you gave us a huge, 30 megabit MP4 or whatever, we're going to use your source to do that export.
And that, so the full source size will go against your 50 gig cap.
Yeah, for the moment.
That's fair.
Again, we're working on that. We may massage those numbers, or it doesn't feel right to penalize you for holding that temporarily, but we're working on it. But yeah, that's the reason we hold on to the original. And if you delete the project itself, it dumps literally everything. We make you double confirm and write delete, I think, in a box, because it deletes the original, all of the accessibility assets and the proxy. All of it's gone.
Does it prompt you to like, do you want to download this before you delete
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Well, thank you for bearing with me. This is, like I said, we've been working on this for about 2 years. It still needs a ton of work, but we have literally 2 developers on this, and only about half their time. But we wanted to get this into the wild as soon as we could, and we feel like it's at a place now where it's usable enough to get feedback.
The QR code.
Oh yeah, yep.
And we do have cards up here if you need the QR code to be a beta tester. So feel free to grab those.
All right.
One more question. Do you have like demo videos of this ready, or?
I was making one yesterday. Yeah, this is so new. But yeah, as soon as if you sign up for the beta, we're going to email everybody that's on the beta list and send them that demo video. One of the reasons that we're behind there, every time I make one, something changes. So yeah, soon.